Okay, this hat is you know see me. And today's topic is what happens when a physical human drops their body. Um, well, from my perspective, they're still around. They're still around. They're still around. Around where? Like, I can't tell you if they go into a discarnate state, which is um, just a voice and a personality without a body, or whether they have in another dimension, perhaps, a different kind of body. I mean, the stories are that when you exit your physical body, you have perhaps a holographic light body. I can't tell you. I don't know. But I can tell you absolutely for sure that the personality that you knew in the physical continues, because I have talked with people who have passed on, people who have died in the body. I have talked to them by telepathy. So I guarantee you that those personalities are not dead. But as far as what happens to them, none of them have um, told me what happens. And it's difficult to get them to come. I can't call them and get them to come. I have a group of other personalities that I also ask to help me, and when they call, no one's coming. So, what does it mean? It means that the telepathy that I have is not in my control. And there have been times when I was working at the old folks' home when in the middle of the night I'd wake up and I'd hear a voice that would say so and so is going to pass away in the next short while, and lo and behold, they did. So sometimes I get these tip-offs that someone's going to kick the bucket, but not all the time. It's not like I know who's going to die. It's just once in a while, and um, it's not everyone. It's just once in a while, and it's usually someone that I know. But that's all I really can tell you as far as what happens when you die. Your personality does continue, and sometimes people here in the physical, like me, still can communicate with the so-called dead person. Um, I'm going to have to leave it at that. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the weird thing called doppelgangers, which are people who look like other people. Um, just last night, I saw someone who looked like a younger version of a dead person, someone I used to know who's now dropped the body, deceased in the physical, but there was a young person yesterday who looked about 90% like the person I used to know, but at a young age, like 22. So what does it mean? Why is it that certain people seem to have the same physical form, so much so that you go, it's remarkable. You go, that really looks like so and so. And then sometimes, it's not like a dead person. Sometimes it's someone that that's still alive somewhere. Uh, like in another town or even in the same town. And you look and you go, are you guys twins? And they're different families altogether, but they look so much alike. What does it mean? Well, I'm going to speculate and tell you that from Rupert Sheldrake's work, Dr. Rupert Sheldrake's work on morphogenic fields, these people have got very similar morphogenic fields. Morphogenic is basically the way things look. And in the physicality of these two people, they've got very similar morphogenic fields. Is it exactly the same? Um, Very close. I mean, it's like twins, you know. If you see twins only one time, especially if they're not right together, back to back, you can't tell them apart. But if you get to know twins over a period of time, they're very easy to tell apart. So even though they came from, the same fertilized egg, uh, once the eggs separated into two different eggs, um, they grew into two people that look alike, but not so much when you get to know them. So are they doppelgangers, twins? Well, we call them twins. But anyway, it's just a quick curiosity. What's it got to do with physicality? Um, well, on our planet, we're pretty much used to people being born um, from a mother. And the idea that spirits could manifest into a physical form without being born through a mother seems really far-fetched. Because we don't really understand um, how a spirit gets associated with the physical body. I think the Tibetans say that happens 42 days after the egg is fertilized. Um, but most people, until they start having spiritual experiences, the idea that you're a spirit that joins a physical body seems, to me, back in the day, wrong, stupid, woo woo, and absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. And I think it's perhaps because we are so physical when we're young, everything is physical, and um, the biology, I guess you don't really learn biology until, at least grade 7. I don't know. Maybe that's somewhere along the line. You just get the feeling that the physicality of being born, everything to do with reproduction. It's physical, and the only thing that can break down this strong illusion of physicality is when you start having spiritual experiences, when you start having deja vus, when you start hearing spirits via telepathy. What other things? When you start seeing impossible things. Um, anyway, the whole point of the matter is we are definitely spirits having a physical experience, and the physical experience is so realistic it's hard to believe that we're spirit beings. The only other thing I want to give you is that we are consciousness before we are physicality, and we seem to be associated with the physicality. Most people, I think most people believe that the consciousness arises in the physical brain. And that's what I'm sure that's what I believed, because that's basically what everyone said. You've got a brain, and that's where your mind comes from. But the idea that I always use on these channels is consciousness comes first, and which means that your consciousness comes before the physical brain. How can that be? I gave you many examples. Basically, you're going to build a house because you want a house. Well, you design the house first, or you have an architect create a design for the house, and the blueprints go to the contractor and all the workmen and the workwomen go together and they build it for you. So the idea of the house came before the house. And it's the same way that the same metaphor I'm using. The consciousness comes before the physical body. And it's hard to sort of put it together with humans being born, because when we're born, our minds do develop. And they go through, Piaget gave a really good description of what it's like. Basically, every human child goes through the same development stages. So how do you reconcile Piaget and the way that human children grow with the idea that you're a spirit? It could be that you go through a mind wipe before you are born. In other words, whatever you were and all your consciousness before you come into the body, is your mind is wiped. And then you come in and you're given a fresh, clean slate, and you go through this development process. Basically, so that if you didn't go through that, you would be dragging your past lives, multiple, no one knows how many past lives you've had as a human or as other animals, or no one knows, but you'd be dragging all that with you into this lifetime. And you'd be, 3 years old and you just learn to talk, and then the first thing you want to do is go and look up all your past life people and see what happened to them. So is it far-fetched? Maybe you think it's far-fetched that you would go through a mind wipe. But if you ever think of the idea when there's something, it's what we call, the expression is, it's at the tip of your tongue. Someone's name, or today for me it was a kind of cake. It's like you can't get the person's name. It's like you know the person, it's almost there. You know it's the right person, but the name's not coming to you. Which, in my experience, means there is something going on between you and that information. So if you can be blocked from getting the information, some people will say you're just like you're having a brain fart or it's dementia. No, it's not. That's because we're so trained to believe in problems with the physical mind. Problems with the physical brain are caused by strokes and things, and then people can't use their mind correctly. But you've all had this issue where, that's the person's name or the word you're looking for is on the tip of your tongue. And that indicates that there is something blocking you from that information. And it happens to young people too. So, it's not like someone who's, got dementia. It can happen to someone who's just very young. It happened to me when I was young. It happened to me. It happens to everyone throughout their lives. So there is something going on with our humanhood, where there is some actor. In other words, there's something going on that we don't know about that blocks us from accessing this particular word. And certainly it keeps us from remembering what went on before we came and became a human. Those are the clues. It's like there's a bunch of crumbs on the table, and you have to use these clues and put them all together. And it's basically putting all the puzzle together based upon what you've got. And that's what I'm going to give you, that we are mind wiped before we come here. Now, do you get your memories of past lives back when you drop the body? I don't know. I don't know. Some people say there's Akashic Records that's got all this information. It makes sense to me. But anyway, that's all I wanted to let you know, is that how sure am I that your personality continues after your physical body dies? I'm 100% sure. Do you get your full mind back if you had dementia when you died? The person that I'm thinking of, that I talked to after she died, she had dementia. And when I talked to her afterwards, she still sounded like she had dementia. Is that a problem? For me, it is a problem. It makes me think somehow it's phony baloney. Phony baloney to me is when we talk about Keanu Reeves and the Matrix, and that um, we're plugged into some kind of, I don't really want to say computer generated reality, but maybe it's a mixture of computers and um, I don't know. I can't figure it out. But there are things going on that makes me think that our physicality is very much holographic. Like the holodeck in Star Trek had hologram sentient people in it. These people, their consciousnesses were basically built into the computer system. And yet they sure seem, human to us watching them. And I mean, this is the story, but it gives you hints and allegations that what is all of our mental faculties running on computers? Not in this dimension. We can't see it. There's lots more information, but it's all being kept from us. There's the weird story of the Beast 666 computers in Pine Gap, Australia, Las Vegas, and somewhere in Alaska that were supposed to be used for mind control. You would think it's far-fetched. Well, if we think of Earth history, we're about 120 years past the invention of the automobile, internal combustion driven automobile, 120 years. But if you think of, let's say, for example, the possibility of extraterrestrials, what's to say that other planets didn't develop way before Earth, and that they didn't develop computers and holographic projectors, and what's to say that these extraterrestrials didn't create Earth as a simulated reality that maybe has gone on for thousands of years, and they just started it up and let it run and see what happened. And for us, we were born in the machine. We're creatures of the machine, ghosts in the machine. Where does it go from here? Well, I always say if we are controlled by data, this is the idea that the universe that we are in is all data. I can't remember whose theory this is, but it's one theory. And if that's so, then we should be able to fix the data for the minds, the dementia minds, and we should be able to fix the physicality, the bodies, and we should be able to revive the dead people and put their personalities back together. What happens to these personalities, like the people that have died and that I talked to for a little while? Where did they go? I can't say. But different ones of my personalities, my alter egos, and some of the other cosmic characters that I play, they come and go, and it's not up to me to decide. Sometimes I say, maybe somebody will come, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know who's going to show up. I turn on the camera and I don't know who's going to come. So what does that make me? Multiple personality person. All I can tell you, it is a great mystery, but I do think there is intelligent beings hidden some other place, some other dimension, or the other side of the computer screen that are playing a big joke on us. I mean, some of the things that happen in this world are not too funny. And some of the things are pretty horrible. But on the other side of the street, when you get all enough of this information, you get the feeling that there are other intelligences at work, not in our physical world, um, unless, I don't know, like, what is a mental body? I mean, we're used to our physical body, but a mental body and an emotional body, we don't see them. Where are they housed? Are they in a computer system? Where are memories kept? So there's been a lot of research on that. Lower animals seems to be associated with the physicality, but when I'm talking to the personalities of dead people, it's not housed in the body. And like I said, when some word is on the tip of your tongue, why would it be that your brain wouldn't give it to you? Some people have said our brain is more like a radio receiver than a producer of thoughts. And that all the thoughts come from the source fields, which is, where are they? What houses them? How are they stored? Questions, questions, questions. I don't have an answer, but that's the end.